Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Strange Brews. We had a little bit of a break. The various life things that happened, and my family going on vacation to Yellowstone, which was pretty awesome. But we're back here today to talk about Modern Horizons 2, the most recent set as of now. Just wait like 3 weeks, and there'll be
Yeah,
another one probably.
it came out. It came out officially released yesterday. I played in the first FNM with Modern
Yeah.
Horizons cards yesterday.
Did you know that the last set was like 60 days ago or something?
Yes, yes, I
Like
know.
Strixhaven was only like it wasn't even like 3 months ago.
It doesn't. I will for
It
myself.
feels
It
like they
doesn't.
just keep getting closer.
It doesn't bother me as a commander player. I always like new toys.
No, it doesn't bother me. It's just another.
I definitely notice it. Yeah.
definitely. It's like, and I know a lot of people the like fatigue of constant new stuff. I mean,
Well,
heck, I even feel it
let's.
sometimes with like updating my decks, like it comes up so
Yeah,
much.
let's talk about that. Well, let's start talking about cards from
Yes,
Modern Horizons,
absolutely.
and talking about updating decks. There's
Yeah,
one card that I put in both of my main decks, and one card that I like
yeah,
windmill slammed into one of my
yeah.
decks.
So how do you want to go down this? Do you want to go like down, like top down, like on Scryfall, like down the colors first, or do you want to go just
Um,
jump to a card that you prefer?
I'm just gonna pull up Mythic Spoiler. There's two cards I know I want to talk about, so we're gonna whack those
Sounds
out of the
good.
way first.
So why don't you take those cards away?
Well, the first one is I tweeted out the new best mana dork ever, which I will hold to.
It sounds
Um,
like a hot take. It
it
might
sounds
be,
like a hot
but
take, but it is Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, a card that will become problematic in some formats, guaranteed. Um, he's a 1 red for a 2/1 legendary creature, Monkey Pirate. And whenever Ragavan Nimble Pilfer deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. So he deals He taps to like
oh,
deal
you
two
forgot another
damage.
important
Oh
ability.
yes, he also has
It's
dash for
dash.
1 in a red. So dash is it's a cons mechanic. You can put him into play. It gains haste, and then it goes back to your hand from the battlefield.
Now you might be saying that sounds bad. Why would you ever do that? Imagine your opponent goes turn one Imp Seal. Oh, well, I'm just gonna go land, rock, play Ragavan. Go,
Yeah,
just destroy your Imp Seal, counter your Imp Seal. Screw you, I
it's
guess.
it's also like a you always have a 1 in a red sorcery, make a mana draw card, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
So this got windmill slammed into Duretti because obviously, but like this should probably just be in most decks that run red. It's so
A
good.
lot of them definitely. I think most should at least consider it, especially if you have any advantage to attacking. So if you're in a deck with Timna and red, you definitely want this because it's a good little attacker boy that you get down early and get double advantage with him and Timna. He's just
And if
and
you're
he's a
playing a
rookie.
mono red planeswalker deck for some reason, you want him in that too.
Well, it's because you're mono red, I think.
Yeah.
You're in a mono color and one of the weaker ones. So
No, it's not one of the weaker ones anymore. What are you talking about?
not anymore, but you got a lot of filler slots still even in a mono color deck.
Yeah, I think
So
the only big thing that mono red is missing, because we've talked about it before, red is getting so pushed. The only thing,
It's just another case of that.
yeah, the only thing that it feels like mono red is really missing is like really good interaction. Like
Mm.
we have exactly like ooh REV and Pyroblast, and it's like okay, well that's it. And then there's
Yeah.
also
You get Tibbles now.
there's Deflecting Swat and Tybalt's Trickery we both got. But then you start going into like Burnout. It's not mono red, but I really like
Get a fork
Guttural
in there.
Response. I like Gutter. Oh, Fork is just counterspell most of the time, but. Anyways, so yeah, Ragavan. Hot financial take. You shouldn't buy this card for a while because it's bound to get banned in at least Legacy, perhaps Modern. I think any format where Deathrite Shaman is banned, this could probably be banned. Any 60 card constructed format, that is. Um, what you should do instead is, and it's probably sold out because I'm probably not the first person to think of this, but just buy the token from Aether Revolt, because there was a card in Aether Revolt that made a Ragavan that was a 2/1. So just buy the token, and then you have a textless full art promo of your Monkey Man.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
that's actually not even that a terrible idea. I think the only problem is that Ragavan has like 3 lines of text. He's like a questing beast.
Yeah.
He's like a questing beast. He really is. He's like a questing beast on a mono red body.
Dude, I don't know about Questing Beast. He only looks like Questing Beast because he's got the dash text.
Well, the thing is, it's not green, so it's not as crazy. It can't be as pushed as green. If this was green, it would also have flying. For some reason, even though green doesn't usually fly.
Yeah, well, there's that famous test, right? That's like, if it was a multicolored card that had vigilance and flying, what would it be? What colors would it be? And the answer is green-black, because black gets flying more often than any of the other colors, except I think like white. Like I think non-white was one of the stipulations. So it's like, if you're not using white, what's the closest it can be? And it's like green-black. Because green gets vigilance more often than all the other colors except white. So, yeah, isn't that weird? Magic is a weird game.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's been like a thing for years. It's not even like some like relatively new thing. It's just, there's just little color pie things that we think we know. Where it's like, oh, white has most of vigilance.
I just looked it up, everybody. The Ragavan token on TCG Player is 30 cents.
Yeah.
Just literally buy that. It's even a 2/1.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
Like unless you want like the alternate, like full art borderless.
Even that will come down. I mean, it won't come down a ton, but even that will come down.
Yeah.
So the other card that I just looked up because I was curious how much it was, because I also need to pick up a copy of that, is Urza Saga.
Oh boy! It's actually one of the first spoilers we got in the end.
It is,
we at the time we were like, oh, this is a really good card, and it remained one of the best cards in the set.
Yes, it's I would have a very hard time. This is one of those things where I see it and I'm like, okay, well, this goes in every deck, literally every deck. Because I'm thinking, and I said this. I know I said the same thing with the mythic MDFCs from Zendikar Rising, the ones that are like, they bolt you and they come in untapped, but they also like shatter skulls, smashing, and those. This actually goes in every deck, because every commander deck, every CEDH deck runs a Soul Ring and a Mana Crypt and a Sensei's Divining Top. Minimum.
Well, not everyone runs a Sensei's Divining Top.
Everyone should be running. Oh, well, don't get me started on that. Everyone should be running a top. Do you like your draws being smooth and using your mana efficiently? Well, I guess I should
also Jewel Lotus. That's a good one if you want a colored. You want like a colored.
That is true.
You need like colored mana to get like your command.
So Urza Saga is a enchantment land. Urza Saga. Urza Saga, for its first chapter, which the sagas are, everybody knows kind of what sagas are. We don't really play with them in our format. This might be the first one that sees play. This might be the first one that majorly sees play, just because it is so good. For its first chapter,
it's land.
It gains the ability to tap for colorless. For the second chapter, it gains the ability to, so it still has the ability to tap for colorless, or
it's not till end of turn.
Or you can pay 2 and tap it, so pay 3 basically, and create a 0/0 construct. And then its third chapter is you put the chapter counter on and then sacrifice it, but you search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. So mana cost is not the same as mana value. Is that the right word? Is that the new terminology?
Yes, mana. Yeah. So mana value is CMC. It's the converted. Right. Like you take everything, crunch it into a blank integer. Of
Mana
like
cost
3.
is it needs
Mana
to see
cost,
the number
yeah.
1 or 0.
Yes.
Which
So
is
like
why we were
the
talking
classic
about Jeweled
example I've seen.
Lotus.
Yeah, the classic example I've seen of mana cost versus CMC or mana value is like a mana cost is like, for example, 2 and a black is a different mana cost from 1 black black, even though their CMC or mana value are both 3. So that's that's an important thing to remember. It's not CMC or mana value. So okay, so it can't fetch like Lotus Bloom. It can't fetch
It
suspend
can't fetch the
artifacts.
artifact lands. It can't fetch
Any suspend
any
cards because they don't have
suspend
a CMC.
cards,
Yeah.
anything
So
like that. But
yeah,
it
so it can't get
can,
like Mox Tantalite or Lotus Bloom. Can't get
but
those
it
big
can get
lands.
pretty much any, or I would say most of the fast mana that you're running in your deck.
Yeah,
Which
you can get a Mana Vault, Soul Ring,
you can get a
Lotus.
Chrome Mox or a Mox Diamond to fix you. Like, this card is
Yeah.
so good, and obviously, so I like I said, I put it in 2 decks. I put it in Urza and Duretti, but like, I feel like it goes
My
in
goodness.
every deck.
This is getting restricted in Vintage.
Is it
I
really?
just realized this. It's gonna. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna get him. It's gonna get restricted in Vintage because think about it. It fetches Jeweled Lotus.
It's
So in order
gonna.
to one copy of all your Mox and a Jeweled Lotus.
Oh, you mean
fucking
your
way.
literal? No, it fetches your Black Lotus.
Or your
But
Black Lotus.
you know what it
yeah,
also
fetches your
does?
Lotus. Yeah.
You
Oh
know
my
what it
God.
also does in a format
else does
in a
it do?
format with Moxen? It creates like a 20/20.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Again, I repeat, the most games I've won with Urza, I have won with beats. It's just how most of those games go down. Like, and this card lets everybody do that. Like, if you're in an average game, you're playing what, 4, 5 mana rocks, something like that. Like, excuse me, sorry. You're getting like a 5/5 or a 6/6. Like, that's pretty much the biggest thing in the format. It should go in every deck. I'm gonna tweet it out right now while Sean talks about the next card.
Okay, but what do you? Oh, one last thing. Do you think that maybe there's a case that it shouldn't go in every deck,
No.
or go in every deck, or maybe go in every deck included as a full like colored land, like in 4 and 5 color decks? You might not. You might add it as an additional card because it's so powerful, but not included in your basic land base.
I didn't
because
say that it
of
was.
the
I
color.
didn't. I'm not saying cut a land for it. I'm saying
Okay,
it
cool,
goes.
just-
It goes in your
Okay,
deck.
so you would add it as a card in itself, not a land.
Why do we play tutors?
To tutor of things, yeah.
To
So you-
well,
yeah.
we play tutors to decrease redundancy.
Or
This
you mean
card
increased
or
redundancy.
increase redundancy. Excuse me, increase
Reduce
redundancy.
variance, yeah.
Yes, that.
So
That's
this
what I meant. to say.
reduces variance. It's tutor for like a fast bandit. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's
Or for combo pieces.
and
You know, for
that
example, in Elsha. Elsha
as
loves
in
this.
oh yeah, this is so good in Elsha.
Also another thing, a lot of people have been experimenting recently. I've seen with like Bola Citadel and stuff in decks. This might also be a push to help that because it can fetch top. You know, for doing Bola Citadel things. That's just another like cool thing that it helps. It's a good card. It's a good card.
Yeah. So I'm going to tweet out my hot take while Sean talks about our next card.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna kind of start going down the list. I'm gonna start up in some of the white cards, and we can talk about one of the I think one of the more impactful cards for white we've seen of late. Esper Sentinel. This is a
Oh god.
1 white artifact creature, 1/1 human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So for default, it will be you get to say, "Do you pay the 1 in white to draw a card?"
Which you should be able to say in white anyways, but we're not going to get into it.
Yes, but to be fair, this is them almost explicitly saying this effect is a white effect. It is in white's color pie. Rhystic Study is a white effect. Whether it can also be a blue effect is, whatever. But this is them explicitly saying the pay X, like draw a card, that is a white thing that white can do, which means we might be getting more of this in the future, which gets me really excited. So on the surface level, this is just This is just a good card. It's obviously not a Mystic Remora. It's obviously not a Ristic Study. It's not that powerful. The cards were mistakes. They were they would never print
I,
they would not print those like explicitly those cards today. Those cards are probably too they're
I,
a remnant of a bygone era. I
I
think.
feel like this sits nicely between those two cards, actually.
You think that Esper Sentinel is what better than Mystic Remora?
I think it's slightly better because it has a power and toughness. I think that
Also, it doesn't have the upkeep. I guess
it
might be.
it doesn't have the cumulative upkeep. It's always
Mm.
there, and it triggers for every like if Crown is like one of the best command zone value engines in our format, then this card is nuts. Because this is
So
basically Crown. And then I mean, even if you don't make it bigger, this goes in like every like Metapod deck or anything you're doing where you like are doing hate bears, Staxy type thing. But now like decks that aren't blue have access to this, like Arcane Laboratory. Like now that is a white thing, but like it used to just be a blue thing, and they're taking things away from blue that should be in white and giving them back to white, and I like that. But I
yeah,
do I if that's also a hot take, I seem to be the one with hot takes. But yeah,
you do.
that's my thing, and I mean I wish I had the record to back it up, but like when Spleenface makes a hot take, it's at least worth something. I'm just like some guy rambling in his bedroom.
Aren't we all though? Aren't we all?
Just a bit.
So, anything else you want to say about Esper Sentinel? I just think it's just a fantastic
Nothing
card.
more than I
Oh,
just
a
said.
quick thing. If you're in any sort of deck that has enough like synergy with equipment to utilize them, for example, decks with Arden, which I know Sakira has been, he has his like hipster stacks with Ardentana. Esper Sentinel is fantastic in it because you can just like equip swords and Colossus hammers to this, and it's like, do you pay the 13? Or something like that. It's like, oh, do you want to pay 15 for that? No, okay. You get to say, do you pay the 15?
Jesus.
Or like, oh, I equipped a Colossus hammer. Do you pay the 11? No, of course you don't. And you're like basically guaranteed to draw, 3 cards.
What
Yeah.
else do we have?
Oh, one important thing to note. It's not one card you draw each turn. It's one card per opponent each turn. So if it's on your turn and an opponent counters one of your spells, and they don't pay, you draw a card. It goes to another opponent, if it goes to like, the player after use turn, they cast a an ad nauseum. You draw a card. Your opponent casts like Force of Will. You draw a card. And then, the player casts, another one, a defensive, and then the add-ons player casts a defensive spell. You don't draw another one. And then maybe the third player casts a counter spell, like a misstep on a dispel or something. And then you just do 3 cards in one turn. And then it passes to the next turn. The add-on is countered. It passes to the next turn. And then it's reset. Any spells any of them cast, you'll draw a card for each. So it's not even just limited to just 3 per round of the table. You could draw technically, I think, up to 9. Probably not, but you could draw like 4 or 5 per round of the table.
It's
I just notice that and remember that it's
wait. How are you drawing 4? Oh, per round of the table. I
Yeah,
thought you meant per
round of the
turn.
table.
You can draw
Per turn is max 3.
max
But
3,
per
so
round of
like
the table, you could
max
actually
9.
draw 12 because your opponents could actually cast things on your turn. It's each opponent each turn. So it's just a good card.
It's also a taxing effect that like you can tutor easier with blue tutors.
Yeah. If they pay it, then that means that you just basically polyed their non-creatures, which in a stacks deck is fine.
Speaking of, oh
no, I didn't have much else to say.
oh, I was gonna say speaking of blue cards, there's one right next to Ristic on Mythic Spoiler that I really want to talk about, and that is Suspend.
Oh,
Suspend is awesome. This is the instant speed removal. This answers the question of what do I run as instant speed creature removal in Urza? Help, help, I can't figure it out. It's been reality shift up to this point. It was the exile a creature or an artifact for like from Strix for like a day, and that was awful. This fixes the question. This is the I need that thing gone and I need it gone right now. It's one blue for an instant. Exile target creature and put 2 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend.
I mean, first of all, this is just like an awesome like
It's another CEDH card with suspend, which is fucking awesome. Like I'm a big fan of delay.
Ooh.
Might be my favorite counterspell in the format, but
I think delays really really cool. Yeah, I mean honestly, suspend. Well, how many is it? 2 turns?
it's 2 turns.
Yeah. So it goes, so 2 of their upkeeps. So you do it if you do it in your turn, it goes to their upkeep. That's 1, and then it goes 1 more round to the table, and then it comes back at the beginning of their next turn and has haste.
This is 1 mana to stop any creature-based combo. This is 1 mana to stop things
exile.
from. This is 1 mana to stop like a big thing. Like my meta has like silly things like a Kinnan deck that like YOLO's a Blightstone Colossus sometimes. Yeah. I played against. He has almost killed me. When I tweeted out, I won a commander game or a CDH game on 3 life and 7 infect. That was against him.
Oh my.
And that was like the last game of the tournament too.
Yikes.
So yeah. Even still, I think your main application for this is, like I said, combos. This is also a really nice card to protect Urza because he comes back and makes another construct. You get to cast him for free.
Huh.
So if someone goes to remove him, I'd actually rather like pay 1, suspend him, and then bring him back.
Suspend him for 2 more rounds at the table.
Yeah, and like it's if someone's usually when it depends on the board state, I guess, but
yeah, it depends what you're wanting to do as well. If this is like the first time you've cast him, and you can cast him again, and then you'll have
early game it's a lot better. But like this card in general is it's brilliant. It's really great.
It's very good. It's very good. A lot of people being like, blue and white exile effects. It's like this is a very blue card. I'm sorry, but it's like suspending things, like suspending things with as interaction is a very 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 blue effect.
Yes.
It's not Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares is way better.
I've seen people calling it the blue path, which I don't know that I disagree with.
Like I'd probably in that it has a downside, but the downside is worse than Path. White is still better at removing creatures.
There's one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Your turn.
Yeah, no, my turn. Yeah. Speaking of white removing creatures, there's actually a couple of cards I just want to talk about back to back as 2 of the other kind of neato white cards, if you don't mind, kind of more like removal stuff. So they are two white's new cards, Out of Time and Solitude. I gotta just get the big one out of the way first. Is Solitude. It's part of the incarnation cycle. For anyone who doesn't know, each color got an elemental incarnation set that you could evoke it.
Should we just whack all of these out in one go?
Do you want to just whack all?
Let's just whack out the whole cycle.
All right, cool. We're just do the whole cycle. So first of all, Solitude is 3 white for 3/2 with flash lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 other target creature. That creature's controller gains life equal to its power. It's it's swords, and it has evoke. All of them have evoke, and then exile a card of the that cycle's color from your hand. So in this case, it's a white card. For the black one, it's a black card, etc.
No, the blue one is not Force of Will.
No, it is a kind of
We didn't get
counter
that,
spell,
and we
but
didn't get Wasteland, which I keep waiting for. I won't play Ren and 6 in Jund until Wasteland is printed.
Uh, oh, you made me just think. It would have been really funny if the red one, instead of being damaged like it is, was a stone rain.
That would be so cool.
That would
Anyways,
be amazing.
the
But it
blue
doesn't exist.
one is
Anyways,
2 blue blue for a 3/3 with flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, choose up to one target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. I'm like super meh on that one.
yeah, and its name is subtlety, by the way. Which, to be
Oh
fair,
yes, I didn't say that.
I do like all of the names of them. I really and the themes of them I really like.
Well,
Again,
yeah,
it's
because
not like a
the black one is called what it's going to
grief.
cause you.
Yes, we'll get to that in a minute. Subtlety. It's just like, oh, we're just gonna slide in, slip your card back into the library. It's not like hard counters or anything. I like the theme of it, but as far as being an actual card, yeah, it's too specific in that it's creature, planeswalker, and only on the top or bottom. It doesn't get rid of it for any significant amount of time. It would be probably significantly better if it even put it on the third card down, even. Where they have to do something to get it again.
I feel like the bottom is pretty much gone.
Well, yeah, the bottom is gone.
But they're not
you
gonna
get
choose to put it. Why would I don't understand why it's ever. I guess if you're playing Grunzo, it's better for you to put it on the bottom.
Yeah. Also, sometimes you're like, all right, I'm gonna cast this thing here, and they go to counter, and you're like, I'm not gonna cast this again. Or maybe you're like, all right, well, we'll just put it at the bottom. Or else maybe what's on top, and you need what's on top. You're like, all right, I'm gonna leave it on the bottom. Something like that. There's reasons that it could that it could do that. And then the black one is, as I already said, grief is 2 black for an element incarnation. Obviously, it has menace. It's 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you thought seize an opponent. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards his card, and it has the evoke exile, a black card from your hand.
This card,
just to say, evoke is an older mechanic. It basically is you cast it for the evoke cost, but when it enters, it sacrifices itself.
This card is it has me very concerned in Modern.
Yes.
But
for anyone who doesn't know the big things that you can do, there's a couple of big cards. There's a card that there's a card, whether it be one of the an undying card, card that gives undying, or a card from Zendikar that's also what the MDFC lands that people were using. That's when a creature would die, return it to the battlefield. And a creature you control would die this turn, return it to the battlefield. So you essentially you evoke grief, and then it goes to the graveyard, and then it comes back. You can Thoughtseize twice, and the other card is Ephemerate. You get to do it 3 times because you get the rebound from Ephemerate. You play grief, Thoughtseize, target with Ephemerate, leaves, comes back, and then you Thoughtseize again, and then he's still on the battlefield because he hasn't entered with the evoke trigger this time, and then it comes back around to your turn. You get the rebound from Ephemerate, flicker him again, and you Thoughtseize their hand again. By turn 2, you've Thoughtseized them 3 times for 1 white mana and 3 cards.
It's so everything that Sean just described is completely irrelevant in CEDH.
Completely irrelevant in CEDH. And this card is not
because you would, in CEDH to execute the play pattern that he just described, you are essentially 3 for 2ing someone. In Modern, it's it's cute enough where your double Thoughtseizing is probably enough to win you the game on your own, and then you also have a creature. But in CEDH, you do that. You Thoughtseize the Godo player or whatever, and they had Helm in their hand, so they're out for until they draw Duretti or Trash for Treasure or whatever. And then they pass, and then the Rogue Rack player just goes off, and then you've lost, and your 3/3 looks real stupid now.
Yeah. Outside of very specific decks, often like low color or like Golgari, like reanimator decks that that can also use like Thought Seizes to dump like a hook into their bin. That you don't really find like direct hand hate that much. You find it in like low interaction colors like Golgari, and sometimes in like Rakdos decks like Kroxa. I know sometimes run like effects like Thoughtseize, I think. But yeah, this kind of stuff. This is a card for 1v1 formats where you can just throw away their entire game plan within the span of the first couple turns. That power of Thoughtseize type cards, anyways. That's always been one of the things that, like Jund, for example, has done really well, is like attacking people's like combo hands like really early on with Thought Seizes and then beating them down with creatures. So this is not for us, but it's still a really powerful card and part of the cycle, and it's really cool to talk about. And I do like it. It's just probably too good for the other formats, to be honest.
We can probably zip through the rest of these like fairly quickly.
Yeah,
these other two are like meh. The red one is.
I do actually want to talk about the green one a little bit, but we'll talk about.
I hate the green one. I think it's the worst of the cycle.
It's not as bad as you think. Right, but
the red one is Fury, 3 red. It's a 3/3 elemental incarnation double strike, and when it enters the battlefield, deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and/or players. This is just literally pyrokinesis, I believe.
It's pyrokinesis without the instance. I feel like if it
doesn't have flash.
Nope, does not.
Well, great. Okay, now the red one's the worst.
Yeah, no, the red one's bad. It doesn't have flash. That's the big sticker. Yeah, and they even showed that they can make multiple ones with flash.
I was about to say they can't give red anything, but we did get.
Shut up. Red's been getting a lot.
We did get.
I'm literally looking at it right now and like, oh, Dragon's Rage Chandler. That's a good card.
Oh my god, that's Delver 2. When Ragavan gets banned, that's the card I'm pivoting to in Legacy.
That's the next one of the ban.
No. That's the next card that I'm like playing in that slot because like it is literally just a second copy of Delver. Oh, Dragon's Rage Chandler, real quick for anyone who doesn't know, is a 1 red for a 1/1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. And as long as it has Delirium, and if Delirium is active, it has +2/+2 flying and attacks each combat fable. So it is literally it's a Delver with a slightly bigger booty.
It's a Delver that takes a little more like specific action to activate.
It's awesome.
But also like filters you. It also surveils. It also surveils. Once again, this is a different format. Though I do think this card can actually see some play in some CEDH decks. Surveilling whenever you cast a non-creature spell is very, very good, and it is a very threatening attacker for very easy to activate, like very easy to get going. And so that's pretty. It's actually not that bad in CEDH, I think. But anyways, the other card, Fury, is bad. Don't play it.
Don't play Fury.
Unless you want to.
No,
unless you
not
want
even
to,
if you want to. Don't play Fury.
If it had flash, it would be good. But the fact that it doesn't have flash.
Well, the green one has flash. What's the green one?
The green one is actually pretty neat. The green one is called Endurance.
Think it's pretty neat.
No. Here. So let me see. I'm actually anyways, I know what it does. So basically, when it enters the battlefield, up to one target player puts all cards from their graveyard on the bottom of their library in a random order. It's a 3 cost, 1 green for 3/4 flash with reach. So this is the thing you can actually pretty easily just play out for its cost and then just like get someone with the reach, which is really funny. That's actually quite amusing. But here's the big gotcha. How many cards people usually have in their How many cards do like an average ad naus deck like have in their graveyard by the end of the game?
Oh jeez, I don't know.
What's a common win condition that they use? Not breach, the other one.
Oh jeez, I don't know. I don't play this format anymore. I play modern. Like full disclosure to the audience, just real quick. I took a break from CEDH in June. Like this past June has been modern, so. But yes, Thassa's Oracle. That's a card.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody.
Did you actually forget Thassa's Oracle for a second?
No, I didn't know what you were segueing to. In
Oh
my
yeah,
defense,
no.
I wasn't. It
Thassa's
wasn't that I
Oracle.
didn't know what it was. It was that I didn't know what you were leading to, and I was just like sitting here nodding, like, yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't actually ask me to name it.
Oh yeah, no. Thassa's Oracle. This hoses both Breach and Thassa's Oracle. Ta-da! Think
Ta-da.
about that. Thassa's it put the cards onto the bottom of their library.
Okay, what else does it do besides be a 3/4 with reach, which is like,
Well, it
okay,
deletes
great.
graveyards, so it hoses reanimation.
All right.
So it stops Razaketh reanimation nonsense. It stops Protean Hulk reanimation nonsense. It stops Breach.
All you're
Like,
so all you're saying is stops. Like
yeah,
okay.
it's interaction. It's a really powerful green interaction piece. Is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
In a very green way. Green has always had like the shuffle cards back into graveyards kind of thing. That's often been a very like green thing. Black exiles cards, black exiles cards from graveyard. Green shuffles them back into the library. It's like renewing things. You know, it's a very green thing.
We might have to agree to disagree on it.
Ah, come on. I'll show you. I'm gonna put it in my Sisay deck.
All right,
and
you put it.
Shall see.
You beat me with it in your Sisay deck. I'll play.
Okay.
I'll play Urza, and if you can beat me with your Sisay
You
deck.
use your yard in Urza. That's
What? I played Flood of Recollection once.
no. Virtually. Watch. You're gonna.
That's not fucking. That's not fair. You're gonna play a real stacks colors against a mono red deck. Let's talk about some magic cards. I got another one to talk about.
Fine. Talk about some magic cards.
It's Entomb 2 Electric Boogaloo Unmarked Grave.
No. This is my one. Hold on.
Oh.
The Protean Hulk deck. Thank you very much, sir.
Real quick, the modern applications for this are really
Insane.
interesting. This is like go find your life from the loam. This is like copy 5, 6, however many you want of life from the loam in a dredge deck. It's a really good card.
Or go find your or if you've already got the dredge cards in your graveyard, go find your payoffs. Like go find an ox.
It's everything that is good about Entomb is good about this card, except for 2 things. What are those 2 things?
It's one more Doom State. It's one more mana. It's sorcery and you can't fetch legendaries, which is a big deal.
I think they could have made this one in a black instant.
I think they could have, but I also think
I know I'm nitpicking on a set that is like literally right under it is effectively a demonic tutor. Like I'm nitpicking hardcore here, but like they could have made that an instant.
Wait, what's effectively a demonic tutor?
Oh, profane tutor is a slightly below curve demonic tutor, but it's like a really cool thing for casual players. It lets casual players have a demonic tutor, which is really cool, and it makes me very happy.
It is really cool. Yeah, Unmarked Grave is very, very good in a lot of formats. It's a second copy of Entomb for us, basically, except for like Razaketh decks. For Protean Hulk decks, second copy of Entomb. In a lot of Protean Hulk decks, we had Entomb, obviously. We had Buried Alive, which lets you fetch 3. You go throw a couple other things in there. If you have any other reanimation targets, you put that in there. And then you also had Final Parting, which was 5 mana, let you go get 2 cards, 1 into hand, 1 into graveyard. So you go put a creature into the graveyard and you go get like a reanimate. And so that's what we had. But now that's what we had for like things that put things directly into graves generally. But now we have Unmarked Grave. It's just 2 mana. Go dump your Protean Hulk in the bin. Go dump your I don't know. Something. I don't know. Whatever you want. It's fun. Reanimation is fun.
Sean,
what's
I
up?
think there is still so much I want to talk about for Modern Horizons 2. I think we might have to, for the first time in Strange Brews history, part 2 this discussion.
We got a part 2 this? Let's talk about Profane Tutor first.
Well,
you already mentioned it.
We'll talk about Profane Tutor, but I want to have a big talk about Enchantress. I
Okay,
want to have
would you
a
like to?
big talk about Enchantress, and I want to talk about my modern adventures and why I love this set for multiple formats, including modern, but also for CEDH. There's one big thing that happened in this set that I want to go really in depth on. But
All right, sure. Take it away. Take it wherever you want to go.
oh, oh, well, no, we can talk about Profane Tutor. I don't think that's a CEDH card, so I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about it.
It's a CEDH card in exactly one deck. Cody. It's a
That's not a real CEDH deck.
yes. That is. Have you not been paying attention?
I
Oh
just told you I did it.
no. Okay, so yes, yeah, it is. With this, it has been tuned to where you can get you can get like 90% of the time you're casting like Adnaw's turn like 2-3. Like you are just you because what Cody does for anyone who doesn't know, it's from Strixhaven. It's like an artifact commander.
I was gonna say it's the book, isn't it?
It's the book, and you can tap it for 4 mana, 4 generic mana, and add Wooburg. And then whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery, you basically go down through your library until you find an instant or sorcery with lower CMC, and you may cast it until end of turn. So what that does in Cody is it makes so you tap Cody, and then it means that you can cast any one CMC spell you cast. You get a trigger to go look for Profane Tutor, which is a demonic tutor, and you just get it for free. And you just demonic tutored for free after like casting a Preordain or like a Vamp Tutor or an Imp Seal. Or you just any one CMC spell. And the deck is very good, but it's still fragile. It's still a very fragile, like one game plan deck. But
Well, who made it?
Battiscon.
I wonder if
Yeah.
if they'd be on this cast because
They
now I'm
absolutely
intrigued.
would love to.
I
Sure they would absolutely
completely
love to come talk
dismissed
about
it, and then you started talking about it, and now I'm intrigued. I would love to.
Yeah, no, it is a like fragile like one note deck. All the Adnaw's decks that actually have a grind game are still better than it, I think. But as far as consistency, it's probably the most consistent the most like consistent go like A B C. C stands for Adnaw's like A B C for Adnaw's. Like that's like game plan. It's like ramp out, cast Cody, tap Cody, play a 1 CC spell, Profane Tutor, blah 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 blah. You go get a ritual, or you go get an Adnaw's, or whatever you need, and blah Adnaw's. It's awesome. It's really
So before we cap part one, I did want to say
Yes.
I did tweet out like I said I would.
all right. Let's go see this.
I tweeted out Urza Saga goes in every CEDH deck, and I already have 4 replies telling me I'm wrong. So, but hey, if Sinestra and Rebel have taught me anything, that clout is everything.
That's true.
and-
you
and
just got
trolley
full
clout.
replies in
Yeah.
like 10 minutes.
Oh,
I found there's 2 things that get people to interact with you. It's spite or validation,
so
and that is
next week I want to talk about Enchantress. I want to talk about Modern because I know that you play Modern. And we might take a little bit of a we might do
little
Modern.
detour.
Modern Horizons 2 is. It might be one of my favorite sets that's come
I think
out
it is.
of all time.
I think-
It is
I think-
so solid. We might just do a
Both-
ton of content on it.
both Modern Horizons 1 and 2 are in my top 5 sets of all time.
They're
Both just such good sets. I feel like this one is even better than the last. Like it feels like there's more like energy to it.
The last thing I want to address
Yes.
is fetch lands. So what I want to say about
Get 'em
fetch
out of
lands is that so as we're recording, the set dropped yesterday officially, and the Monday
Yes, we're recording
before,
on the Saturday, June 19th.
the Monday before, this past Monday, the most expensive fetch land was Polluted Delta from Khans of Tarkir at $40.
Ooh.
The most expensive, like cheapest copy. Scalding Tarns, Verdant Catacombs, Misties, all of the Misty Rainforest, all of these fetches that have held value for so long, and also Arid Mesa and Marsh Flats. Sorry guys, love you, but you aren't quite the same caliber. But
Also Windswept. It's not
all
really the same.
Yeah.
Windsweept's always been like $12.
It's always like those. Well, here's the thing: what I thought was gonna happen with the cons fetches exactly happened. Is those got like way more expensive, and they're still climbing. But
yeah,
guys, they did it.
Get your fetch lands here, boys. Get them on
They reprinted fetch lands. So the lesson to learn here is bitching and moaning loud and long enough works. Sean, where can people find you?
You can find me bitching and moaning on Twitter at Singer Lee. I don't really complain about fetch lands much, but I mean, I'm sure I complain about something. Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at 2intheblue, where I act like I know what I'm talking about and make tweets about Modern because I own most of Jund, and so that qualifies me to have an opinion on a format I've played for a month. But you can find the cast. You can find the cast at SBS_cast, where we will post updates about. Well, where we say we'll post updates, in reality, if we go on a multi-week hiatus, we might not say anything. But barely anybody's watching this anyways, so
Don't say that. We have people who watch.
Yes, we love you all. You're all very, very lovely.
It is actually greatly appreciated.
And
this is just a thing that we do for fun as a side project. That there are actually people who do listen to it and do enjoy
and care what we have to say. I had someone tag me in Kes Wiley's tweet of who are the best CEDH players out there. And I was like, that's a
lie.
That's so flattering, but no.
No, absolutely not. There's so many more better players playing in like the MLB right now.
It's like, I mean, it was very nice of you,
Yes.
at Sir Remy. I'll give you a shout out, but that was very nice of you. But to be fair, you and I have you ever played with like Spleen and Sinestra? Those were like the people that I named as my top.
I could probably play with I could probably get a game.
No, I know that we could get games in. I didn't know if you had. Well, coming up, we're working on some new content, gameplay, where we play exclusively against Spleen Face. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do this the other way then. Spleen Face, this is a challenge. We think we're better than you.
We're not. No, we're not.
Sean just sent me a message. Sean, why'd you just message me on Discord saying that it's all like a lie and you think you're better than Spleen? Why did you do that?
I didn't do. Spleen. Listen, look. I know.
Sean, you keep sending me deck lists and saying these are what I would use to beat Spleen with, and they're all like strange Brews lists. That's so weird.
I feel like Spleen's gonna come. I'm just gonna be walking around and Spleen's Spleen's gonna come out of the alley and say, "What the shit did you say to me?" And then just stab me.
Until next time, I'm Josh.
And I'm Sean.
And this has been another episode of Strange Brews.
Take care, everybody. Don't die.